The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Picture this. It's the first morning of a new school year. A young man puts on his uniform, his shirt is pressed, his shoes are clean, his books are packed, and he's ready to learn. But before he ever opens a book, there may be another question waiting for him at the school gate. What does his hair look like? Braids, twists, afro, the length of it, the style of it? Something as simple as hair has once again opened up a much bigger conversation about discipline, identity, standards, and the rules we expect our children to follow. Now, the Ministry of Education is holding fast to its grooming policy, and there are strong feelings on both sides because some will say, what does hair have to do with whether a child can read, write, pass an exam, or become something great? Others will argue that isn't the point. A rule is a rule. School has standards, and part of growing up is learning that we don't get to follow only the rules we agree with. So maybe the real question isn't about braids or an afro at all. Maybe it's about where we draw the line between standards and a society that is changing around them. And tonight, I'm not going to answer that question for you. Our Hot Topics panel will have at it. But there's something interesting about that debate because on another side of the town, another group of Bahamians, they're also arguing about rules. Only this time, it isn't about who can walk through the school gate. It's about who can pick up a passenger. Taxi drivers and livery drivers have been locked in a growing dispute over where they can operate, who they can service, and whether everyone is playing by the same rules. Today, that fight reached the Trade Union Congress, where the issue was again put before the public. And if you listen to the taxi drivers, they believe they have a case. Listen to the livery drivers, they'll also tell you they have one as well. But a country cannot run forever on two sides shouting past each other. And at some point, somebody has to tell the public what the rules actually are. And that brings me to something that has become part of the story on this program, the empty chair. Because night after night, we've been asking the questions. And night after night, we've been inviting the people with authority to answer them. We've asked government officials to come here, not to ambush them, not to embarrass them, but to explain their policies, defend their decisions, and speak directly to the people who paid their salaries and live with the consequences of those decisions. And sometimes they come, but too often they don't. And as a former broadcaster said, call for another story. And perhaps nowhere has that silence been more frustrating than on power. Because you already know this story. You're home. The air conditioner is running. Dinner is on the stove. The kids, they are on their devices, and then flip. Darkness. We've talked about the spoiled groceries, the lost business, the generator fuel, the sleepless nights. We've heard the statements. We've read the explanations. We've heard the promises about what that energy system will become. But we have also repeatedly asked the people responsible to come on this program and talk about it to you. And we're still asking and still waiting. Because when people are frustrated, that is not the time for leadership to become less visible. That is when it should become more visible. Accountability cannot only exist in a press release. And communication cannot only happen when the news is good. Good evening, everyone. I'm Devontae Hannes, sitting in for Shanique Miller. And tonight we're going from the school gate to the taxi line to the light switch, but I don't want to end this program there. Because while we've spent this week talking about what isn't working, some young Bahamians have spent their summer seeing just how big the world can be. Different continents, new countries, new cultures, new experiences. And young people from these islands, they're stepping into rooms and spaces far beyond our shores. And that's how we'll end tonight. Because the story of the Bahamas cannot only be about the things we need to fix. It also has to be about the people we are preparing to build. What comes next? Rules, rights, responsibility, accountability. And before we're done, possibility. This is beyond the headlines, and we're going to dive right into it tonight. According to taxi union officials, Monday was supposed to mark long-awaited change at the national airport, only they say it didn't. Our Danielle Dean has the details on this report.
Long-standing tensions between taxi and delivery drivers at LPIA have reached a boiling point, with the taxicab union accusing government of failing to enforce rules meant to protect its members. Now, union president Tyrone Butler says they have run out of options and industrial action is on the table.
Our plan is to correct what is being done, one way or the other, come hell or high water. We looking to have no backup plan. When we go, we're going. It's as simple as that.
Butler says following an August 5th meeting with government officials, an agreement was reached to stop livery drivers from soliciting passengers alongside taxi drivers at LPIA. He says livery drivers were to remain in designated pickup areas, with more road traffic officials deployed to enforce the changes. The union says that was supposed to begin Monday, but it didn't.
You should not allow the person who can charge what they want to charge to stand next to us, because what they have been doing also is lowering their price because there's no fixed rate for them. So if the taxi rate was $50, they can go for $49. And we've seen them do that on many occasions just to get the job.
Transport Minister Leon Lundy, however, says both sides have legitimate concerns and government is waiting for the taxi and delivery groups to reach common ground before moving forward. TUC President Obi Ferguson disputes that, insisting a deal was already reached and a date set for implementation.
We cut a deal. When I walked away from there, I was told Monday morning, bright and early, the deal we struck will come into effect, and it will be on a temporary basis for a period of 2 weeks.
Butler now says he is done negotiating. While he's not saying what industrial action could look like or when it could begin, he says the union is prepared to take its next step. Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
All right, well, thank you so much for Danielle Dean for bringing that report. Just moments ago, I actually just got a statement from the Minister of Transport, that's Minister Leon Lundy. He said he just wanted to clarify what he said, that the Ministry of Transport position is that the two parties should first meet, engage in good faith, and work together to arrive at a mutually acceptable solution. He said, that at this stage, the ministry is awaiting the outcome of the meeting between the two parties. Once they have reached an agreement, the Ministry of Transport will do its part to ensure that the terms agreed upon are respected and that both parties live up to the commitment they have made. Now, here tonight, to start off the show, is Mr. Tyrone Butler. Mr. Butler, some strong words there tonight in that report. The hell and high water. The taxi cab drivers are seemingly not backing down from this issue. What makes you so passionate about this issue? And exactly explain to me what exactly is happening.
Well, you know, based on that statement you just read from the minister, it just further infuriates me because here's a minister of the government who seemingly can't tell the truth or speak the truth. Because what he just said in that statement is nonsense. We never even had a discussion about meeting and discussing and then going back. We agreed. 2 ministers, 2 permanent secretaries, and a road traffic official, the controller. 5 senior government officials in a meeting. And you mean to tell me none of them could get a story right? And he is saying that we need to meet again? I've met with this minister 7 times since he was elected.
Wow.
It's a disgrace. He's perhaps the weakest person ever elected in government. He has no credibility. Not only does he has any credibility, I've lost all respect for him.
Well, I mean, we've previously heard the minister said that there has been attempts to have both sides meet, but nobody seems to show up, or the taxi cab drivers may not show up.
The Bahamas Taxi Cab Union is firm in its position. We see no value in meeting with an illegitimate organization operating in our space.
And that illegitimate organization
is
delivery?
delivery drivers.
Okay.
If the government wants to give legitimacy to a franchise, that's on the government. But they will not do it at our luxury. You're not gonna sideline the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union and its members because you want to give favor to your friends or family or whoever. And that's what the government is doing. It also speaks to a government that has no respect for the law, because the law is quite clear on how all franchise ought to work. And the government is hell-bent, bending over backwards to accommodate livery drivers. But they will not do it at our expense.
What exactly is the biggest gripe for taxi cab drivers? And I ask that because we've heard this debate move and happen for a few months now, I dare say years, right? What exactly is your issue? What is it that cannot be solved right now?
What can be solved is the fact that you have a government that has decided that they will hang their hat on the rack of livery drivers. They know that the livery drivers has no standing at the taxi stand. The law does not provide for them to be there. This is not an issue that Tyrone Butler took up since he became president. I've been in this fight for more than 15 years. This is an issue that started way back when Glenys Anna Martin was when she was the minister in the first Perry Christie administration. So I've met with her even when I wasn't a president. She sought to allow a few limo drivers, because in that era limos were the choice cars, not town cars and SUV as they are today. Mm-hmm. Times have changed, and so now everybody's into SUVs and town cars. And that's fine. I have no problem if somebody wants an SUV or a town car and it's organized and arranged through the proper channel. I have no problem with that. In fact, I drive an SUV, but it's a taxi. And my rates are based on what the government has published, all right? But when you have a livery franchise, because the only difference between an SUV that has a taxi plate on it and an SUV that has a livery plate on it is the color of the plate. And two vehicles, same identical vehicle, same year, can take passengers from Nassau International Airport to Paradise Island, and the rates can be as much as $70 to $80 different.
Wow. And who takes the larger share?
Delivery.
Do you think that's because of the cars that they drive, or
it's the same car?
What do you say caused that big change in price?
Because you have a small group of individuals in this country. They live in this world where they don't want to be known as a taxi driver. They want to call themselves high-end luxury car drivers. Mm-hmm. They're fooling themselves. They're fooling themselves. Because you can't be fish and fowl at the same time. You want to be a high-end luxury car driver, then book your business like the luxury car services do. You get first choice. You don't see their drivers out there. You got a gentleman in Albany, Laurel. You don't see his drivers out there, right? You get Bahama Luxury Services, Taylor on Carmichael Road. You don't see his drivers hustling at the airport. The livery driver president, Mr. Austin, loves to come on the show and talk on a bunch of nonsense.
Last night?
He's a clown.
Oh, no, you can't say that.
He's a clown, I'll say it.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm telling you, because he goes out to the airport, puts on a vest, which is normally worn by a taxi driver. He puts on one of those, and he's standing there shouting at the guests as they come across. SUV, town car, but you want the public to believe you're a luxury car driver, and you're screaming at the guests and trying to sell a guest your vehicle? Really? Is that what you want us to believe? You're a luxury car driver or you're a high-end driver and you have to hustle your job?
Because the difference between livery and taxi is that liveries has to be, according to the law, I understand, they have to be pre-arranged.
Absolutely.
And so the act of going there and hacking, which we call it, is illegal.
Illegal.
And that's the biggest gripe for the taxi cab.
Absolutely.
And I mean, what do you propose the government does to correct that? Do they restrict them from coming to the airports? Do they only come to the airports when they have a ride and can show proof that that ride has already been organized? What exactly should the government do to correct
Exactly what you just say. Pre-arrange your business. Go out there and sell your brand. You have a brand, your livery, your name. Go out there and sell that. Put it on the internet. Even taxi drivers do that. We have a lot of taxi drivers who don't even work the taxi line because they are on the internet, they have their own websites, their business come to them. That is what a livery driver or luxury car driver should do. We have no problem with that. We've made many compromises to try and mediate this situation between livery and taxi. But when you have a government, particularly this new minister of transport, who seems, totally incapable of meeting the moment. It's just a waste of time. The previous minister of transport, she again was another one that seemingly bent over backwards to entertain them. The current minister of tourism, who you can make the argument that started this mess, who I would have thought would lend her experience to the new minister and try to get, again, you go up and down the ladder of this current administration and you find incompetent people. And this is the government that calls itself, or say, choose progress. We choose progress on May 12th, but the progress isn't coming.
Do you think that, given the fact that this is a second term for this administration, the patience is thin to deal with this issue?
It may very well be, but I think they're playing the long game. I think they realize they're only a few months into the second term and they got a long runway. It's a 5-year term. And so they perhaps say, well, we got 5 years to frustrate them and to do whatever we got to do. And what we're saying is, well, we'll meet you out there at some point.
Now, you said that you will take action. What would that look like?
Well, stay tuned, because
I tell you whenever a union person says stay tuned.
We have a lot of options that are at our disposal. Chief among them is we're a member of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, headed by Mr. Obi Ferguson. As you know, he represents some very prominent unions. That is one of our options of looking at when we go. We're going to call on all of our affiliates, all right? We're also inviting members of the public who believe in the rule of law, who want to come along with us on this journey, because this is not about taxi drivers in a vacuum. This is about what is the law going to look like with a government that seems to be have no respect for the law. But you have police officers, you go down to the cruise port tonight, harassing taxi drivers who go out there early just to get an early start. They're harassing the taxi drivers out there. You sometimes pull in downtown to let guests off. Police want to give taxi drivers a ticket. We got all of these police officers that are willing to write up taxi drivers for any number of issues, but they don't know the law when it comes to the airport. I have to wonder about the commissioner of police.
Oh, boy.
Is she an agent for is she taking a cue? Because if you're the commissioner of police, everybody in your organization should know the law. Why are you allowing livery drivers to operate outside their franchise?
Now, Mr. Butler, people that are sitting at home, they may say there are a lot of enemies of the taxi cab union right now.
We don't care.
And a lot of times when people hear that there's a lot of enemies for one person, they say that common denominator might be the issue. Do you think that the taxi cab drivers could be the issue here?
No.
No.
The common denominator is the government.
And very briefly, if you could sit in front of the Minister of Transport right now, and you can't curse Mr. Butler, what would you say?
I say grow some spine.
Grow some spine. All right, we thank you so much, Mr. Butler, for joining us. The taxi cab drivers, livery drivers have been dealing with this issue for quite some time, and the taxi cab drivers simply say they want to put an end to it. They're tired of fighting, of course, and he says that this issue has been going on since as early as 2002. You know what I was doing in 2002? I was in preschool. All right? Let's just deal with the issue. Stay right here. You're watching Beyond the Headlines. We continue the show right after this break.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel, and I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes your process you and entertains him 24/7.
Your comfort starts here. At CoolTech, we are your #1 Lennox provider, catering to the entire Caribbean. We offer refrigerants, compressors, thermostats, and more, all built for reliability and efficiency. With expert technicians ready for installation and support, we deliver comfort you can count on, all season long. Call CoolTech today at 242-341-5665. That's 242-341-5665.
My name is Charles Wesley Roll. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 boys up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Carmichael Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
Think you know a lot about money? Then prove it. What if one sound could win you big cash? Listen carefully. Then tell us exactly how much money went through the machine. One guess, one sound, one chance to win. Listen, guess, win. It's the sound of money. Brought to you by 103.5 The Beat. Powered by Island Lux Quick 5.
All right, so welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. I'm Devontae Hanna, just sitting in for Shanique Miller, who is on a much-needed vacation. But we're going to turn up the heat, and we're turning up the heat on Hot Topics tonight. For the first time ever, we have joining us 2 young, vibrant, I'd say opinionated Bahamians who will join us tonight. That's Christoph Strawn and Bahamian Trey. You may know him as the artist. They're going to talk to me tonight via Zoom. We have several issues that we need to dive into, and I'm sure that they're there. Yes, gentlemen.
Yes. Good night.
Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I feel like this is a cousins link up happening right now.
I'm telling you. I so ready. Oh, when I saw Christoph,
yeah. How y'all doing? Let's talk about that first.
Everything's good with me, man.
Everything is good. All right. All right, we can dive right into it right now. So, first things first, the big story today, one that I've been seeing scrolling on Facebook. They talk about Mark Fit on Twitter, so we ain't get into that, right? But you know, on Facebook right now, a lot of people talking about the story from a local daily where the ministry is defending strict public school hair rules. So basically, the director of education is saying, you know, we're not going to change the hair rules, the grooming policy. They have to come with that low cut, and it has to be at an appropriate length. But we have seen where other schools, private schools, notably St. Andrews just a year ago, their head boy, deputy head boy, they have braids and locks. What do you gentlemen think about this situation, and what has really been like the discourse like about this?
Christoph, I'd love to hear what you have to say first.
I think it's archaic. I think it's outdated. I think it's antiquated. It's a remnant from colonialism and slavery. And if you look at both Trey and myself, neither of us have low hair. And the fact that we are still able to be here on a platform like this and express ourselves articulately highlights the fact that hair has nothing to do with what's in your head. I was in college, I graduated, I was valedictorian, I was the most outstanding student in my school of arts and humanities. I was SJ president, I was student trustee, I was president of so many other organizations, very actively involved, not just on campus, but in my metro area in Raleigh-Durham. And I used to go between having my hair out and having it plait up. So if I could do that, and then what I thought was ironic, right? Everybody like to pretend that it's just about a look. But one thing that stood out for me in the article was Mrs. McCartney Russell. She said it's intended to keep students focused on academics and promote a positive learning environment. What's negative about black hair?
Exactly.
And I mean, looking at Trey, you got a head full of hair. Like, I mean, it's everywhere. And I'm sure you feel very strongly about this as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, if I be honest, most young boys coming up in school go through that phase of wanting to grow their hair, especially in this specific period right now. Summertime, you probably already was growing it, and now September coming and you're dreading the fact that, okay, I have to cut my hair because my school rules don't allow for it. And I'm so happy that Christoph brought up what the director said, because it always causes me to really and truly think about, where is this rooted? And no pun intended when I say where is this rooted, because honestly and truly, it always baffles me most knowing that this is being enforced by people. When you look at their yearbooks, the young men had afros. These would be the young men with the afros. So I'm like, hold on, how when did this shift? How did this happen? And like, I'm so confused by it whenever I see it happen and become topics every year. I can't believe we're still doing it.
Do you think this is coming from, before I go there, I mean, what do you say to the people who may just say, like, you know, the rules are the rules? You know,
Slavery
have
was
to
a rule.
Say that again.
Slavery was a rule. Yes, it was.
I mean,
and again,
being outside of Nassau before sundown was a rule.
Was a rule. Yep.
Being off Spanish rails before sundown was a rule.
Oh, this is not
Just
going
because
well
it's a
for
rule
them.
don't mean it's right. What is that rule rooted in? Why is that rule a rule in the first place? And just because you question, you see, in our society, when you question a rule, you are deemed a problem. You're not saying you saying let's investigate why things are the way they are. That's all you're saying. And if you realize through further investigation that, hey, this is rooted in something silly or something that's wrong, it's no issue to say going forward it ain't gonna be like that anymore. But when you keep these things in place, that becomes the issue.
I was going to ask, do you think this is rooted in self-hate?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Trey.
I absolutely agree. It's rooted in self-hate, and I think it's that colonialism that you that Christoph spoke about for real, because it's again that same thing I'm saying. Like, what is it rooted in? Whenever we come to these stuff, because when you make a statement like to promote a positive, a positive educational environment, what studies show that low hair promotes us, promotes
Yeah.
that type of environment? It's like, okay, what is this truly rooted in? And when you really ask anybody in an administrative capacity, what is this rooted in? They can't give you the true answer, because the true answer is this self-hate and this colonialism.
Yep.
And you know what also confirms it's self-hate? Why the little Conky Joe little boy don't ever have to cut his hair?
Aha.
Oh
Or
boy, I don't know.
why the little light-skinned boy from South Lutra with soft curly hair don't never have to cut his hair?
And I'll do
Why
you
the
a better
little
one.
Guyanese or Trini boy who people Indian never have to cut his hair? And this ain't just a Bahamian thing. When you go throughout the entire Caribbean, it's only 3 countries in the Caribbean who have laws that outright prohibit black hairstyles, that outright rules that discriminate against black hairstyles. Only 3 countries in the entire Caribbean say, hey, this is wrong.
Guyana,
2025,
I think is 1A.
the 3 countries are Barbados, Anguilla, and Puerto Rico.
Guyana,
2025,
jeez.
the top achieving CXC student in the entire Caribbean region was a young man whose locks were so long they was covering his eyes in this picture when he was holding up his awards.
I remember that. I remember that.
The highest achieving student, not just in Guyana, in the entire Caribbean.
Oh, that's that.
A young man
that's,
with locks. So you're saying it's to promote positivity. You're saying it's about discipline. Clearly he was disciplined enough to not just pass his CXCs, but pass more CXCs than everybody else in the entire Caribbean. So was it what's it really about?
And we're constantly seeing this. I think it was 2015 or 2016 when we saw the issue happen at C.R. Walker. But I think her name was Tasia Davis. I don't want to misspeak, where she had the entire Save the Puff movement. But in recent times, we've reported it just last year, where a mother had to take her student out of school, CC Sweden, because of their hairstyles. We're also seeing where students who are graduating were not receiving their graduation packages because their hair was said to be ungroomed and unkept. And what exactly does being groomed and kept look like in today's world? Because
exactly.
we have a minister in parliament who has a head full of locks.
Exactly. And then you know what's also like scary for me too? I don't know if I'm sure you remember the story because you guys reported it, where the young ladies who, I don't remember which school it was, and I don't want to misquote as well which school, but they wanted to basically figure out the legitimacy of whether the young ladies' locks were real or not. They took them into the, I don't remember, the cosmetology room, I think it was, and they tried. What? Like, how do you, like, what is that rooted in? Like, how do you get to that point? Because you know what I mean? Like, it's almost now where when we having this conversation, I don't want us just to only think about the young men, but it's even the young women who end up getting victimized just off of having their natural hair in these certain instances.
Yep. And I mean,
it's one more thing I find about this that's just so ironic, right? Because the article mentioned St. Andrews. St. Andrews was founded to uphold white supremacy.
For real.
In
Allegedly.
1948, QC began racially integrating the students. And some parents didn't want that, so they went and had their own school established for white students only. And now here it is. Decades later, the school that was founded for whiteness and white people is now the school that's allowing blackness.
And shout out to the young man that was head boy and deputy head boy last year. I gotta
real.
Way to go, right?
Real.
But this entire situation is indeed outrageous to think about and to put it into context. But I wanna get y'all opinions on this other story that came up. I didn't tell y'all about this because I didn't until it got read in the news. I didn't think about how crazy it was. It says the wife of a local associate pastor who worked as a travel concierge along with her husband are facing charges after a vacation failed to materialize. The prosecutors say 58-year-old Andrea Cox and her husband, 74-year-old Reginald Cox, received $5,000 from Tanya Astwood on November 28, 2023. Cox is also accused of receiving an additional $28,805 from Astwood between January 2023 and March 2024. The couple was granted bail, with Cox's bail set at $8,000 and her husband set at $5,000. The couple, of course, did not plead guilty to the charges of stealing by reason of service when they appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Ancella Evans. They were granted bail, with Cox's bail set at $8,000 and her husband's at $5,000. Okay, all right, we got the point. But basically, here it is. The pastors are allegedly frauding people out of funds, $28,805. What do we say about this as a society? Where do the people that we're supposed to be looking to for righteousness, to lead us into the promised land, as they say, are facing charges before the courts? What do you gentlemen think about that?
Well, Christoph, I saw you made a, of course. Christoph, I know you made a post today. I know this isn't like the exact thing, but you said something about the National Day of Prayer, and I think that would add so dread to what he mentioned that, because I think that's my true answer to this for real.
So I think for starters, the Bible say for the love of money is the root of all evil.
Oh yeah, come on, Pastor.
Far too many people get into ministry as a money grab, whether it's through fundraising, donating to the church, tithes, and all of that. They do it because they know that the people who come to church, a lot of times, they are desperate. And they looking for something that the world is not giving to them. So they thinking their pastor's leading there somewhere, and they giving up money. In addition to that, you just have people who crooked people. These crooked people. You taking all that money from someone knowing that you wasn't going to provide this service. And it's pastors like them that are partly why the country is in the way it is. Because going back to what Trey was talking about, what I posted, the Bahamas Christian Council now says they're proposing a 21-day long National Days of Prayer.
Okay, watch how you talk with this, because I pray today. Watch how you talk with this. I prayed today.
I ain't saying something wrong with prayer. I'm not saying that. I am a Christian. I am currently pursuing my master's in divinity. I'm all for it. However, for me, it's the performative aspect of it, right? Because you're saying, let's have all these national days of prayer, but the church and the pastors aren't doing anything to address the social issues in the country. You have these two Christian leaders that are actively involved in defrauding the citizens of the country. They are adding to the crime statistics. You have these churches. Why is the Bahamas Christian Council? They said the National Days of Prayer to combat crime, to combat corruption, all of these things. Why is the Bahamas Christian Council not compiled some sort of skills database of all the churches in the Bahamas, of retired teachers offering tutoring to get the national average up? Why have they not compiled some sort of database of all the psychologists and therapists who attend these churches every Sunday and paying their tithes, and once a month offering free mental health workshops? Why have they not figured out, we have all these lawyers in our churches offer, at the churches sponsoring legal clinics for people involved. Where's the community outreach? You could count on one hand. And we know what the church name, Great Faith? I can't remember what the church name, but it's one church in particular. And then the singing bishop. We know they just do their food thing. We know that. So you can't knock them. But in a country where almost 100% of the population is Christian, and where I believe the statistic is we have the most churches per capita in the world.
Whoa.
Where's the Christian outreach? Where's the community funding, the community program, the social outreach, all of these things? Why is the church not actively involved in it? Why is it that every time something go wrong, only thing the church could ever fix their mouth to do is say National Day of Prayer? They probably go on have a National Day of Prayer for these two pastors who instead you say, hey, this is what we about. As Christians, we distancing ourselves from this. We are now establishing some sort of task force that's sponsored by the Bahamas Christian Council. Pastors and ministers got to regularly, every 6 months, check in with these guidelines. If they don't meet it, we saying, hey, their church being sanctioned.
Yep.
These leaders being sanctioned.
And to be clear, yeah, I'm not laughing at the fact that we're having a National Day of Prayer. I think it was just the delivery of it, right? Because we have to, yeah, you go ahead, Trey.
I just was saying that this exact thing is honestly, I'm sure every young person listening can agree that this is honestly what causes for a lot of young people to be shied away from religion when they see stuff like this happening. Because one way you got this happening, and then the next way you got the lady in the south selling holy water and selling altars and things like that. And it's like, now, how do we put all these things together and think to ourselves like, yeah, but they have our best interests at heart? Like, you know what I mean? It's always distasteful seeing stuff like this in the news.
Well, last night we posed the question to the Bahamas Christian Council, you know, after we have these 21 days of prayer, what happens after that? And the president said that, you know, there will be action that the Christian Council will take. You know, it's still early in their term. And of course, none of this is to slap up the faith. As was stated on this during this entire segment, we all are men of faith and we believe in the power of Christ and the power of prayer. But sometimes we think that it has to go beyond that.
Faith without works.
Beyond works.
Bring up my friends, man. Let me tell them bye. Bring up my friends production. Come on. Well, yeah, it has to go beyond just that. And I think that was the sentiment that both of you would like to share tonight.
Yep.
For sure.
All right. Well, gentlemen,
works is dead.
This was fun. You know, this might be my last night on this set, particularly, but hopefully we can get it to happen again. I thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Much blessings for having me.
All right. Well, we continue the show on the other end of the break. I know all of you that were watching, you all had a little youthful jump. Well, we're going to get even more youthful right on the other side of this break. So you don't want to move at all. This is Beyond the Headlines.
So don't be profiling anybody. Trust the leader in private lending for your personal loans. Oh, they like the path to financial freedom. One just for you. Come on. Sunshine financing for a ting-a-ling-a-ling. Hey, hey. When you need that money, car, home, vacation, every. Don't be profiling in this party. What? I want that 000. I girl on there cause I got no money. You only hear me, eh? You better go by Sunshine Finance and ask them for the 000 promotion.
Go 000 with Sunshine Finance. 0 interest, 0 payments, and 0 service fees until 2027. 000. More savings, more freedom. Apply now.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference.
All right, y'all, I just want to start off this segment by saying y'all have to pardon us for that little commercial break just now. But you can see exactly why, because when I do things, especially with the young people of this country, I like to do them in decency and in order. And tonight we've talked a lot about the challenges facing our country, but we don't want to end the show there, because while we debate what education should look like, some young Bahamians are showing us what it can produce. From leadership training in Oklahoma to a global space program in India, to a 14-year-old learning to fly a plane. These are students from McCaffrey International Academy, a small family-operated school in Fox Hill, now celebrating 16 years of innovation and imagination in education. Tonight, we meet some of the young Bahamians taking their talents beyond our shores. And we will introduce Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Jade Pinder, Lori Diaz, and they will join me now to talk about this awesome program. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines to you, ladies. I want to begin with you, Dr. Higgs. Tell us a little bit about, what exactly happened over this summer and the amazing opportunity that these students had.
Over the summer, there was a manifesting climax almost based on a 15-year-old vision. And that vision was to do education differently. So all of my training, all of my degrees, from the College of the Bahamas, University of the West Indies, and University of St. Thomas in Minnesota, a white Catholic private university, where I was taught by priests and nuns. So you talk about the colonial vestige, as it were. They guided me that the colonial education system still exists strongly in the Bahamas, for the mere fact that Cambridge or persons from London would have come with regards to the BJC and BGCSE national examinations. Every year they would come. They visited the school again this year, all schools. And so McCaffrey International Academy in Fox Hill, rooted in one of the longest serving communities that celebrates our heritage, backed by Kim Alton Stubbs' research on the Peter Mowell schooner, the ship, that's just one of them, in the 1860s, that capsized, and then all of those persons walked. They were documented, released, enslaved Africans, and then walked in Congo Town in Fox Hill. So I know who I am. Mm-hmm. It's documented. And so I say that to say to you that the educational system then that we have at McCaffrey is new, it's innovating, it's enlightened, it's based on the inner God imagination. Monsignor Preston Moss, God rest his soul, talks about the divinity that resides within. Mm-hmm. And so BJC and BGCSE can't hold the divinity of these children. And so we, at our school, make an investment. And so therefore, aerospace education, that's where India, we did a 1-year curriculum with India, and we just came back from India, and now Lori will share, she's going next week. We do artificial intelligence. And so when I was doing ChatGPT, I insisted, it's mandatory that all of our students know that. No artificial intelligence, no Claude, no all of them, because that is the era that we're in. And so it's mandatory that every child brings a device. BYOD school, bring your own device. Culinary, I'm a diabetic, and I was just released from hospital recently, but now plant-based foods. So every child must do culinary, and it must be plant-based.
Yes.
And that's a training. So these are just some of the ways in which we are using imagination, and we're preparing global leaders with technology and ancient African teachings. So we talk about the Moors, my skin, the black Moors. That's the black genius. Don't tell me about ADHD. Don't tell me about that. Don't tell me about Ritalin. And don't tell me about the spectrum. These children are divine beings, have a divine being operating in them. And so now Lori and Jade will tell you how that manifested for them.
We want to bring in Lori and Jade, who've done certainly some amazing things. Welcome to the show. This screen is popping on the screen tonight. All right, we're going to start with you, Jade. Tell us a little bit about, what you experienced.
So good night. My name is Jade Pinder. I'm in the 12th grade, and I'm the charter president for Anchor Club. So to begin with, the summit we basically learned about leadership, servant leader, effective communication, and we built friendships. Seeing so much and so different cultures and different people was different because we could be here and there's a lot of different workshops, but just to be around a different group of people was empowering. And especially to see female Bahamians, pilots, Karen Ferguson Bain and Debbie Archer, the first Bahamian international pilot president. It was just so empowering to see them and see how they move, talk, and the standard they live by. Everything was just amazing. And visiting the different countries, it was just life-changing and unreal. It was unreal, very unreal, because at my young age, I never thought I would experience something like that. So seeing the different people, hearing cultures, different languages, and even meeting some different religions, it's just different. And it was a great experience for me overall.
Lori, I want to bring you in. I understand you're about to head to India. First of all, I want to know if you have any space in that bag, because I won't go. But you're going to go and do a pilot program. How excited are you about that?
I'm super excited for the program. I have the opportunity to represent the Bahamas. I have the opportunity to represent my school, ACAFRA International Academy, and basically act as a student board member. I also participated in robotics competitions, robotics programs, makes me more experienced for this mission. I also completed 100 modules, online modules, with the help of the Shakti Sat program. And it basically taught me about coding, programming, geography, ham radio, and different collectives about robotics. And recently, my school and my robotics team won the ISBET Robotics Tech Expo Tech competition. So we are currently celebrating that earlier in April. Yes, sir.
So definitely some amazing things all around. Dr. Hicks, you must be proud.
I'm very proud because it's one thing when you hear and get and write down a vision from God. And then it's another thing when it's unorthodox. And so therefore it's frightening. And then 15 years later, it's another thing when you see it manifest. The global leaders that you have as part of your school model, you see them, persons from Japan, from Ghana, from Canada, all over the United States. Oh my God, it was phenomenal. And one thing they talked about Debbie Archer, the current president, Lisa Palmquist, said that she went to the summit several years ago with her daughter. But when she saw the grace, the distinction, the articulation of Debbie Archer, this is the Bahamian international president, she said, oh my goodness, I want to be a part of that. I want to become like her. And sure enough, several years later, she became the president of Pilot Club International.
That is amazing.
And so I'm very proud, very grateful.
Ladies, if you could use one word to describe what this summer has been like and what the next few weeks will be like, what word would you use? I give you all 5 seconds.
Can I go?
Go.
Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It was just crazy. Crazy and unexpected.
And you?
For me, I'll say divine, because you gotta remember, you can't go nowhere without God. So all this happened through God, and I'm truly grateful. They get to meet different cultures, different aspects, and they got to meet different people, build new connections. For me, from the Anchor Summit, I've made new friends. We've kept in touch and checked on one another, learning about their different cultures. So I'd say this trip for me has been divine.
Wow, that's amazing. And hearing those words, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, divine, and it truly...
For me, it was humbling.
Yes,
it was humbling.
Yeah.
I would have said divine first, but it was truly humbling.
Yeah. And it makes my heart smile. So for me, my one word would be I am absolutely proud to see that young people are doing some amazing things and they're going beyond and going outside the Bahamas and seeing what the world has to offer. Because a lot of us grow up thinking is only NASA. NASA is it. But, you know, it's so much of the world that we have to experience, so much different cultures as they spoke about it so well, which is what makes me so proud as a young Bahamian myself. I may not be as young as them, but I'm still young. All right? So again, I want to say congratulations to all of you on this amazing program that you have been a part of, and I wish you all the best into the new school year. And in India, I could send my passport if you need me to.
You need that Indian visa.
Indian visa, I could get that quick, right? But that's our show for this evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. My name is Devontae Hanna. I was just filling in for Shanique Miller. She should be back tomorrow. All right? So this has been Beyond the Headlines. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night. Be safe. And do turn in tomorrow. All right?